Hello, fellow book lovers. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are having a blessed and prosperous day or night, wherever it is that you're at. I hope it's blessed. And if you're a fellow book lover, such as myself, hit that subscribe button and let's get to talking. So today's book I will be reviewing and talking about is another memoir. My last video, which was my first video, was about Britney Spears' memoir. But today's book and memoir I'm going to talk about is Jessica Simpson's Open Book. And let me tell you guys, I've listened to this book twice. It's really that good. It was that good. I listened to it twice, not back to back, but just different times. But it's a really, really good book, and I really highly recommend it. It's that good. So just like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Mandy Moore, and all that jazz, Jessica Simpson was right up there with them. And, just like Britney Spears, she was popular in the late 90s, early 2000s, the whole nine. And she really made a big name for herself. She talked about, like I said, this was written in her book. And it's crazy how things transpired during her time coming up in the music business. And now she's, pretty much, she hasn't done music in a couple years, which is fine. That's cool. She gonna do her cool beans. I'm still a big fan. So anyway, her book literally talks about, her time coming up and how she got in the music business and how she came about. And nobody really knew this about her, but she struggled with alcohol, depression, then her parents splitting up. And she said that her father, which was her manager, Joe Simpson, I cannot talk today. Joe Simpson confided in her, she said, a week before she gave birth to her first daughter, that he was leaving her mother. Now, who would want to bring that news to their child, especially your child that's about to give birth to your grandchild? Why would you spring that news on her like that? Come on now. Come on, Joe. Let's be for real. Let's be for real. Like, sir. What? He could at least waited until, or better yet, maybe when she wasn't that further along in her, I don't know she didn't really go into full detail about that, but it's just for the simple fact, like, Joe, come on. She talked about that, and she talked about how she grew up and how she was very, very close with a relative, her cousin, I think her name was Sarah, who tragically died in a car accident. I forgot how old she was, but she was really young when she died, and she was really close with her, and how it really messed with her. And I believe she dedicated her book to her as well. And, how close she was with her and how that affected her. And I know how it feels to lose a relative that was dear, close to me. I actually lost two relatives within a year apart from each other, or say 2 years apart. But so I know what she's going through. So to lose someone that you truly love and very close with, it's very heartbreaking. It's, to say the least, it's very heartbreaking. She also talked about in her book how she auditioned for the Mickey Mouse Club, but got rejected. And I know that crushed her a lot. Of course, she said in her book, it really crushed her that she couldn't be in the Mickey Mouse Club with Britney, Christina, Justin, and JC. And I think Ryan Gosling was in the Mickey Mouse Club as well. I know that crushed her, but God has a plan for everybody, and I'm bringing God into this because Jessica grew up in the church, and her dad, Joe, was a minister. So God kind of saw it as, maybe this wasn't what I had planned for you. I have these doors for you to walk through. These are the doors I want you to walk through, and this is where you're going to be. So, she just, took that L. It took her a while to get over, but she took that L and went on about her life, And so when she was about 16, 17, oh, I know she was in her mid-late teens. She signed to Columbia Records. And here's the crazy part. In her book, she talked about her meeting with Tommy Mottola, a couple other record executives, record CEOs, record company CEOs, and she was driving somewhere because she couldn't decide who she wanted to sign with. And she came across this sign. I think it was a sign at the hospital or something like that. She came across this sign in the hospital and it said Columbia. So that was the sign to tell her to sign with Columbia Records. And the rest was history. And she released her first album, which was Sweet Kisses, which was an album of hers that I did have when I was a kid. I had her Sweet Kisses album. I had her Irresistible album. I had her In the Skin album. But I didn't have the original In the Skin album. I had like her special edition In the Skin album, but I don't care. I had 3 of her albums. That's it. That's all. But yeah, she made her first album, Sweet Kisses, and she had 3 hits from that album. She did I Think I'm in Love with You, which was a sample. The beat was sampled by this one, I don't remember the guy's name, but his song was Jack and Diane, and she sampled that beat for her song I Think I'm in Love with You from the Jack and Diane song. So, and I didn't know that for the longest. I did not know that for the longest, but now I do. But she did that song, and then the song called I Want to Love You Forever. But I think her first hit was I Want to Love You Forever. And because I think at the time Tommy Mottola was with Columbia, and he said to her, well, Britney and Christina has like the more dance upbeat songs for their first hit. We want your song to be a ballad. Okay, whatever. So that's what she kind of just rolled with that, and yeah, she became, she was up there. She was up there with the big dogs with Britney and Christina by that time. And yeah, and then of course her third hit was Where You Are, featuring her future husband, Nick Lachey, from 98 Degrees. And that song was pretty good. I remember I used to have that song on repeat because I loved it so much when I had that album. So yeah, that was a good time. I mean, it's the 90s, early 2000s, you had to be there. She also talks about how she met Nick Lachey, which was around Christmas, their Christmas parade of 1998. Gosh, I need to go back and read her book again for a third time. I need to refresh my memory. But yeah, I believe she met her soon-to-be husband, Nick, on this Christmas parade back in 1998. And I think, too, she was invited or was already touring with 98 Degrees. She was their opening act, from my understanding. But she met him when she was 19, and Nick was, gosh, how old was Nick? They were 7 years apart in age. There you go. That's all. Y'all, my math ain't up to par. I could do basic math, which that there alone should have been basic math, but my brain is fried. So please forgive me. So yeah, she met Nick around that time, and they pretty much just clicked. And I remember she said that she told her mom, like, oh, I'm gonna marry that man one day. And lo and behold, she did. But they did break up briefly. I guess because she was young and how she needed to explore and, date around, blah, 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 that typical. But I can't even fault her for that, because come on now, she was pretty much still a child, even though legally she was an adult, but still, she was still very young. So quite frankly, I don't blame her for, breaking things off with Nick during that time. But then, as fate would have it, 9/11 occurred. The biggest tragedy, you know, besides COVID, but 9/11 occurred, and I guess she had, like I said, she didn't really say this in so many words, but I think she might have had an epiphany. Epiphany. That's what she had, an epiphany, and I guess she had, like, you know, she missed Nick, and I guess somehow, some way, they ended up reconnecting through the phone, and, you know, talking about they want to be together, and they got back together, and, you know, y'all know the rest is history. So October 2002 was when Nick and Jessica tied the knot. I don't remember what day in October, but I know sometime in October, that's when they tied the knot. But Jessica, she said in her book that her father, Joe, literally was trying to talk her out of not marrying Nick. And looking back on it, yeah, she should have ran. Especially after watching old episodes of their show, The Newlyweds, Nick and Jessica. Nick was really an ass towards her. And like I said, looking back on him, yeah, he was an ass. But anyway, I remember right before she was about to walk down the aisle or whatever, you know, her dad was right there, ready to walk her down the aisle. And he kind of whispered to her. This was on Jessica's accord. According to Jessica, she said that my father, she's, in her words, not mine, that she's like, my dad told me that, you know, we don't have to do this, you know, I'll stall everybody, you can make a run for it. But she let him know, like, no, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna marry him, I love him, we're gonna be together, that's it, that's all. So fast forward to 2003, 2004, around that era, Nick and Jessica got their own reality show called Newlyweds. Newlyweds, Nick and Jessica, that is. But yeah, they got their own show, reality show, and during that time she was working on her third album, which was In the Skin. And looking back, like I said earlier, looking back on those episodes, Nick really just was a total ass once again towards her. Like, I think he was starting to grow some resentment towards her because, you know, by that time, or I think right around the time him and Jessica Simpson got back together, and right before they got married, 98 Degrees broke up. So I think he was holding some resentment towards Jessica because, you know, Jessica, she was really skyrocketing. I mean, you know, she already had 2 albums and was working on a 3rd album, you know, and Nick he was trying to do a solo. He did, from my memory, if my memory serves me right, he did 2 solo albums. And they didn't really do too well. And I think he just, like I said, I just think he held some resentment and some jealousy towards his wife, Jessica, because Jessica was making music and she was getting popular and popular throughout, you know, she was getting more popular. She was getting more out there, you know, and he didn't like that. He did not like that at all. Hence why he was just so, like, mean to her, you know. And then, like, of course, he really gave her the 3rd degree in a way when she had the can of tuna. Y'all know, if y'all watch the show, y'all know.
Oh. Is this chicken what I have, or is this fish? I know it's tuna, but it says chicken by the sea. Is that stupid? Don't make fun of me right now. I'm not in the mood.
You act like you've never had tuna before.
I've had tuna fish, like, sandwiches and stuff like this.
Maybe you and I have eaten tuna like this before.
Why is it called chicken by the sea or in the sea?
Chicken of the Sea is the brand.
Oh.
You know, because a lot of people eat tuna. It's like a lot of people eat chicken. So it's like the chicken of the sea.
Okay, I understand now.
And of course, she got dubbed the dumb blonde thing. But you know what? I don't like to see her in that light as a dumb blonde, because nobody's dumb. I don't like to call people dumb. And that's just, no, that's just not cool. That's not cool. Especially the way Nick portrayed her or whatever, like the way he looked at her or whatever, like he looked at her in disgust. Y'all need to go back and watch some of them old Newlywed shows and then, you know, come holler at me in the comments, because they were bad. Good show, but I don't like how Nick treated her. So, was it 2005, 2006, she talked about when she was filming her first movie. Was it her first movie, The Dukes of Hazzard, with Johnny Knoxville? I forgot the other guy's name. Y'all let me know in the comments, clue me in. But it was during her filming with, when she was filming Dukes of Hazzard, she was having a very emotional affair with Johnny Knoxville. Her words, not mine. They would write little love letters through email, all that stuff. I mean, yeah, she emotionally cheated on Nick. Yeah, cheating is cheating. Cheating is wrong. No matter how you put it, cheating is wrong. But yeah, she talks about that. And I think a lot of it too had to do with her, because like I said, Jessica, she was the one making the money, you know, bringing the bacon home, you know what I mean? She was the one with the money. So, which means that she was often out all the time, you know, doing Dukes of Hazzard, still doing promotions on her album. I know she was touring, all that stuff, all wrapped in one. So yeah, she was out all the time. So yeah, and like I said, I don't condone that. I don't condone that emotional affair, cheating. I don't condone that, and no means necessary. I don't condone it. I don't condone it. It's wrong. Wrong is two left shoes. But yeah, she talked about that, and there was even talk in her book. She said that there was even talk that they wanted to leave their respective spouses and be with each other. But I digress. It didn't happen. Either way, it was a really, really tough time for her with Nick and whatnot, and they weren't really getting along too after a while. And it showed during the later episodes of the Newlyweds too. They weren't really getting along. And I think too, she said something in the lines of too during the third season of Newlyweds, right? That they weren't really filming together. They were doing theirs, filming apart. Like Nick at the house or doing whatever, and Jessica was doing her stuff with her touring or other stuff she was doing. You know, they just filmed separately. That's what that was. They weren't filming. They weren't filming their show together, like, you know, in the same room, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it was really difficult for her, and she talked about it, and she did say that the most expensive thing that she had to, I forgot what she said, her first marriage, which was to Nick, you know, that was really what really messed her up financially. That's what it was. Somebody interviewed her and they said, what was your biggest financial something? I don't remember. She said her first marriage. In her book, she talks about how she went to Africa. And I guess, I don't remember, I really, really, really don't remember what was going on in Africa during that time. But I think it was some type of charity or something. I'm not sure, but I think she came to that realization that she did not want to be with Nick anymore. I'm sorry, y'all, I had to sneeze. That sneeze came out of nowhere. But as I was saying, Nick has said in an interview that Joe had a hand, he had a hand and a role in his and Jessica's marriage deteriorating. That's the word. But yeah, and I can kind of see that, because I mean, I feel like with Jessica, she didn't really set any strong boundaries when it came to her, with her father. I get that he was her manager. I get that, but she should have set some boundaries, because if that was really the truth, if that's really the truth, and if that's really the case, yeah, that Jessica should have put her dad in check on that, because when it comes to other folks' marriages, you need to just stay out of it and mind your business. Unless there's abuse involved. Then you intervene. But then again, once again, looking back, Nick was abusive towards Jessica. Maybe not physically, but definitely verbally, mentally, emotional. So I can see why Papa Joe interfered, because that's his daughter, and no man wants to see their daughter getting abused. It's obvious, it's common sense, But yeah, that's what I remember seeing an old interview of that's what Nick said. But yeah, that's neither here or there. So her and Nick get divorced, they go their separate ways. That's it. And Jessica went on to date John Mayer, which I'm not going to get into full detail. Y'all gonna have to read her book. I'm just saying there's some crazy mess in there. So yeah, she dates him for a little bit. Then she ended up dating Tony Romo, which was a football player. I don't remember which team he played for, but yeah. So during those times too, Jessica was focusing on, doing music. Oh yeah, and she ended up releasing a country album, which by the way was fire. Yeah, she did that, and I think her talking with Dolly Parton kind of inspired her to make her own country album and stuff like that. And it was also during that time she was supposed to perform with Dolly Parton on some show, singing her one hit 9 to 5, but I guess she couldn't remember the words and she froze and she broke down and stuff like that. And Dolly, being the sweetheart that she is, consoled her, and she even told her, like, hey, I don't even remember half the words of my songs anymore, So she was just giving her that encouragement that it's okay. It is okay. And, she managed to conquer that and, fight, I wouldn't say fight through it, but just get through it and just, continue to do what she loves, and that's music. She talks about how she met her now husband, Eric Johnson. She ended up meeting him she had like a party or something in her new house that she met him, and they ended up falling in love, and then they ended up having 3 children together, and pretty much they still together to this day. And I was looking at because I follow her on Instagram, of course, and I was looking at all her pictures and stuff. I mean, I know you can't always believe what you see on social media. I get it. I completely get it. You can't always believe it. But I will say that Jessica, she seems to be glowing and just really genuinely happy with Eric, her husband now, and her 3 children. And I absolutely love that for her. Absolutely love it, because I feel like that's something she deserved. Because like Nick dogged her. He dogged her out and freaking played in her face, was very abusive, and pretty much he just didn't like her, And now that she created a family of her own, she's happy. And like I said, and also her fashion business is booming. Yeah, I mean, she's just pretty much living her best life. And and just like Britney Spears, I'm glad that she was able to conquer a lot of her demons. Like I said, she struggled with alcohol, and because she was going through a really bad time in her life, and I'm glad she was able to get through that and sober up and not drink anymore and stuff like that. And I'm just glad that she's doing well. But yeah, you guys have to read her book. If you don't read it, you listen to it. If you can't read it or whatever, I recommend you find it in the audio, which is on Amazon. It's on Libby, because I have the Libby app, and a couple other audio. If you can find it in any other audio book thing or whatever, please listen to it. It's a really good book. And like I said, I listened to it twice, and it was really, really good. And like I said, it's one of those books that you really have to take the time and let it sink in, because Jessica pretty much showed me, and also Britney, and I keep bringing Britney Spears because my last video was talking about her and her memoir. I have to understand that some, you know, celebrities, they're people too. They go through things in life. They go, you know, they're human just like us. They bleed the same, the whole nine. They put the shoes on, they put the clothes on the same way we do. You know, they're people too. They're gonna make a lot of bad choices in life, but you know what, as long as they learn from it. But yeah, like I said, once again, I recommend you read Jessica Simpson's book because it's really good. And I think I might want to have to read it again for a third time because it's really that good. You guys let me know in the comments your thoughts on Jessica Simpson's open book. So yeah, that's it. That's all. I will talk to you guys later. Take care.